So Sonic Frontiers was an experimental game as well for Sega, but it was a very successful experimental game. Sega was experimenting with a more open world style Sonic, and I think it did very very well. It was kind of like how Nintendo, it was kind of like Mario 64 of Sonic, okay, as well. It was a more experimental game as well to basically see, hey, can we make an open world Sonic game? And I think Sonic Frontiers was a very good game as well. Yeah. It was definitely much more different than the previous Sonic games, and I think that's to the game's benefit 100%. There was nothing like playing Sonic Frontiers. Any Sonic game was, like I know Sonic Mania is like the fan favorite game because it was a callback to the original Sonic games, but Sonic Frontiers, first of all, Sonic Frontiers has like the best soundtrack and any game. Like I know they actually gave people free DLCs and actually fixed all of the problems people had for the game. It just really shows how much love Sega had for this game. They listened to, like, it was kind of like the Sonic movies. They listened to the fans. They gave people what they wanted out of the game, basically, without trying to change the actual story itself. Heck, even changing the main theme and giving it and basically making it into like the main three boss themes of the game. Yeah, I'm Here With is the main theme of Sonic Frontiers. Sega basically went around and said, hey, you know what? The original version was great, but let's make a Kellen Quinn version and make it even better. And the game is aiming for November 20th, 2026 release date, and it will likely be available on all platforms because Sega isn't stupid like Capcom and refuses to put the new Resident Evil game on the Switch too. Yeah, I know people can say more graphics is the like we're all like Sega is Nintendo. Like I remember when Sega and Nintendo, I hear about how Sega and Nintendo were rivals, but Sega and Nintendo, I think Sega is probably one of the closest companies to Nintendo. Like, Sega Atlas, which Atlas is owned by Sega, Bayonetta, which is a Sega owned character. But Sega, is gonna probably continue putting Bayonetta games exclusively on Nintendo because Nintendo basically saved that series from dying. Yeah, the whole reason why Bayonetta has never been put on other consoles again, even though there were rumors saying that Bayonetta 2 would come to the, PS5 and, PS4 and stuff. I think it did come to PC eventually, but I'm not fully sold on that one, Bo. But Nintendo really saved that IP, and that's the reason why ever since Bayonetta 2, has only been on Nintendo consoles as well. Like, yes, people could say like Bayonetta does not fit in with the typical Nintendo game, but Nintendo saved that series from basically being dead because the first Bayonetta game was not really a very successful game. Okay, it had its fans, but it wasn't very successful. Then Nintendo said, okay, let's save this series and let's give it a second chance. Let's let them finish the storyline of this series as well. And Nintendo basically saved that series. So, yeah, I think out of all developers, Sega has kind of always been there. Sega and Nintendo, I think, have always kind of respected each other, even when they are rivals as well. Like, Sega is always, I bet if it was the other way around, Nintendo would probably do the same thing because, it's Nintendo and Sega at the very end as companies respect each other. I really think they should make a Mario and Sonic platformer crossover game. Like, I think they should. Like, I know they have made some Mario and Sonic in the Olympic Games, and I think they'll still make those games because those games sell lots of copies. Obviously, those games are still very successful and popular. But I think we need to have, or they can go to Mario and Rabbids Box of Hope approach, Mario and Rabbids series approach, and basically make a Sonic and Mario RPG and give it its own unique style and gameplay because that's another series that, was very popular on the Switch era. Well, and yes, the second one at the very beginning was a very poor seller, Sparks of Hope, but over time it did very well because of word of mouth and stuff for that game, and the game eventually sold 3 to 4 million copies on the Switch as well, which mostly going to be seen in Mario plus Rabbids free. Like that's I think very very likely. Like those games are games that like Mario plus Rabbids Box of Hope did very poorly at the beginning, but sold well over the long term, and that's what Nintendo games usually do. Okay, they usually sell very with the exception of the huge games, but Nintendo games are designed to sell well over time. Kind of like GTA 6, and will probably sell well over time. Or a game like Minecraft. I think games are being designed more in time for that. That's the reason why I only get like one Mario Kart or one 3D Mario game per console, because they know, hey, you know, most of the game will, of course, probably sell 10 million copies very quickly, but it will sell well over time, as well. And yeah, but yeah, Sonic Frontier sequel is coming in November 2026. Not too surprising that Sega, when they saw the sales numbers of Sonic Frontiers, immediately said we're making a sequel to this game, and also they said, of course, make more metal music for the second game. They did it for the first three games. No, not for, they did it for Sonic Frontiers, and yeah, I am kind of like, like the actual Sonic games have like metal music in it, and then the movies they just have like generic music. Like the songs from the movies, if you listen to the songs from the games and listen to the songs from the movies, the songs for the movies are actually kind of disappointing, because Sonic has always had rock and metal since Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. Okay, and it's like, okay, we'll just make pop songs for the first three pop songs for the first three Sonic movies. Like, you know, I think in the fourth Sonic movie, they should definitely make a more rock or metal song, kind of like they did with the third Venom movie. Okay, like I know they want to make rap song, like I know rap is a big thing, but they should do like they did with Venom and make a kick-ass rock slash metal song for Sonic 4. Kind of like they did with Venom as well. So if you don't know though, yeah, the third Venom movie had a very the song at the end of the Venom movie, that song was amazing. It's a very great song. It's called One Last Dance, and yeah, it's a very great song, 100%. And that's what this video here. Goodbye. Of course, nothing beats Steve's Solid Chicken, of course. That's, of course, the greatest video game. That's, of course, the greatest movie song of all time. So, yeah. Actually, maybe they could put Jack Black in Sonic 4 and give him like 3 or 4 songs for that. But some people may not be happy about it, but I think the internet will probably be very happy about it, because, hey, we get more Jack Black songs, so that's always a plus.